Hey, what's going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC, and today I'm checking out a brand new pouch from Money Talks EDC. This is called the Shot Collar, and if you're watching this today, the video is going live. It actually drops today on their website, August 23rd at 10 a.m. Central. So I'll definitely link that down in the description if you are interested in picking this up. But this is their third pouch release, and I've done videos on both of the previous ones on the channel if you're interested in learning more about those. But this one's definitely on the larger side compared to those. Both the other ones were pretty compact, pocketable. This is definitely not something that I would carry in my pockets or would even fit in my pockets. Maybe if you had cargo pants, you could shove them in there, but wouldn't want to carry it in a pocket. These are 7 inches wide by about 4 inches tall. And you can see with that current layout or current loadout, it's about 3 inches or so thick. So it gets a little bit thicker fully loaded out and a little bit heavier. So not something I would want to carry in that format. Now, it does have these attachment points here to carry it as a sling, and that's really how I've been carrying it. But if you prefer just a pouch, you can buy the pouch only. There's a bundle that includes the sling strap that's a little bit more. You save money compared to if you bought them separately, but you can buy them separately if later you change your mind. Now, this is available in 2 colors, OD green and then this hot pink. I went with the hot pink just because it's a little bit more interesting. I have plenty of OD green pouches, and so figured get something a little bit new and different. And one thing I do want to note is if you're ordering the bundle and you're going with hot pink, they're not actually color matched. And so you can see the strap here is a slightly different shade of pink than the pouch. And that was a very intentional choice. If that bothers you, I would go with the OD green, but they chose the materials ahead of time, what they wanted to work with, which was the 600D canvas and this 4,000 pound test rescue strap. So they wanted a really nice durable rescue strap. The colors available didn't have a matching pink, so they can compromise on the materials or they can compromise on the color. Obviously they went with the color, which I think was a great choice because obviously you want better materials and don't want to compromise just for the sake of looks. But I do think they look pretty nice together. So even though they're not exactly color matched, I think they look nice together. But if that matters to you, definitely go with the OD green. And they also make sure to list that. They're fully transparent on the website listing. There's a bolded asterisk section that mentions that they're not exact same color. But for the duration of this video, I'm mostly going to be talking about this as a pouch, and that's because even though I've been mostly carrying it as a sling, it's just easier to record the video without the strap attached and worrying about where it's placed the entire video and knocking things off the table. And so gonna talk about it, but let's look at the strap really quick. Like I mentioned, it is a 4,000 pound test rescue strap, so going to be extremely durable. The failure points are much more likely to be these attachment points, and those are YKK, but they are plastic, and so not going to be holding up to 4,000 pounds, which probably isn't so important since you're not going to be carrying 4,000 pounds in this little pouch. Now, they also include these elastic loops. I didn't add those on myself to keep the extra bit of fabric in place so you're not having to worry about it flopping around all over, and I really appreciate that as well about it. But let's get that strap out of the way. And there is a third bundle, which I'll talk about at the end, but let's start with the pouch. If pouch only is $62, and you're getting, again, 600D canvas, YKK zippers, and on the back, we have a Velcro panel that's also 7 inches by 4 or so. And it's not your typical Velcro. It's a really soft, nice, supple like Velcro. And that's really important because if you're carrying this as a sling, certain shirt materials are going to catch on a really rough Velcro, but I haven't had any issues, even with like softer materials, like if you had a knit sweater or something, this isn't going to catch on it because it's really soft, and it will still hold your Ranger eyes very securely. They're on there nice and tight. Now, as far as Ranger eyes go, I have a lot of fun ones on here, but not going to spend a lot of time on these just because I don't think any of them are still available. I think they're all sold out, so I'll maybe link to the companies in the description, but none of these patches are available, so don't want to spend too much time on that. Now, as far as dimensions go, I'll take out the items in the pockets like I normally do and then measure the dimensions after. And that's just because I like to show a sample of the types of items that can fit in each pocket. Every video I do, eventually I'll get comments on like, will this specific item fit in this specific part of the pouch? And so have no problems answering those and do give the dimensions as well. But sometimes just visually, it's easier to see the items that are in there. So this first one, it's the full width zipper and it goes the full height, although the zipper portion is only about 3 inches up and there's another inch on the top. And so if you have a 4-inch wide item, you're gonna have to kind of maneuver it in there, but it should fit. And then that zipper opens about 6.5 inches or so. In here, I just have some random pocket art. So starting with a GRW Curator Flex, obviously in pink. And that was kind of the theme of this. It ended up being a little bit Desert Warrior because that's the type of gear that I have in pink, but the intention was just to kind of match the pouch. Now, next up is an Inky EDC coin. A lot of fun. You see that Inky EDC logo on the front and some tentacles, and then you flip it over to the back and it's actually a donut. So really cool coin. Definitely check them out too. But that's all I put in the front here. And one thing I did want to note before we get into the inside of this pouch is that a lot of the times when you have a loaded out pouch, the front pocket's basically useless. You can maybe fit some credit cards or cash or receipts, really, really flat items, but that's not the case here. So the Curator is a little bit thicker, but you could even fit something thicker than that. Something like a Zippo would fit in there. You can put a knife in there. Random items will fit in there. It's obviously going to cause it to be a little bit misshapen, so if you care about that, that would affect it. But for the most part, you can fit thicker items in here, which is really, really nice. Now, the rest of the exterior, I already mentioned that Velcro 7x4 section of hook and loop, and then it has these straps on either end where that strap attaches, and I don't know that I showed that, so just quickly, it's really easy to attach these straps, and you can use different straps if you don't buy the one that comes with it, but really easy to go on and off. And I do have some bags where it's pretty hard to convert it from a sling to a pouch, and so I almost never do, but this one, it takes literally seconds. So it is a clamshell opening. One other thing that you're going to want to kind of be cognizant of when you're carrying it is the interior orientation is not the same as the exterior. So you can see this is opening sideways and I'm considering this the top of it, but in reality, this is actually the top of the interior. And so when you're using it, you want to keep that in mind so you're not opening it upside down. Most of my stuff is clipped in, so it doesn't matter that much, but if you don't want it to be upside down and stuff just be falling out. So this does open full clamshell, so you have plenty of access to it. And one zipper. Both the zippers I mentioned already are YKK, but they also have paracord on them to keep them a little bit quieter. It's still a little bit of jingle, but it's really, really minimal, so not much at all. Now inside, I like to put a hank in pouches that can fit one, just right in the middle. This would fit in plenty of pockets, but the reason for that is just to keep all of the gear separated so the pocket clips aren't rubbing on each other. So I have a Maniac EDC one in here. Again, not really about the gear on the inside, so not gonna spend a lot of time talking about that. But we'll start on the left side and then move over to the right side. The right side I think is a little bit more interesting, something very unique to their pouches, so we'll get to that in a moment. But right up front I have a ProTech Godson, and this is obviously the Desert Warrior one as well. And I wanted to put a full-size knife in here, even though I really haven't been carrying a knife at all in this pouch, and if I am, it's a secondary knife. And so just wanted to put a full-size knife in here so you can see what would fit, but in reality I'd prefer my knife in my pocket, and so haven't been keeping that in the pouch. Sometimes I do put secondaries in there, but since I've been moving to traditional secondary knives, those are mostly in slips in my fifth pocket, so usually haven't had a knife in here. Now you can see there's a few layers of organization now that I have that knife out. This main front pocket, which kind of overlaps with these elastic loops, and then a larger back pocket. So I'll give the dimensions on all of those in just a moment, but these elastic straps are about 1 1/4 inches wide. The total, even though it's 4 inches wide on the interior, it's about 3 3/4 inches. So up next to that, I have a pry bar. This one from Crispy Donut Community. And a really fun one, obviously more purple than pink, but still kind of fit the theme with this lanyard, which I added separately with that glow bead. This is from a different Crispy Donut Community pry bar, but really fun one still. And then next to that, we have the Olight i3T, and this is technically not Desert Warrior because they can't use the name, but obviously donut as well. And so that's everything I have in this front section. Actually, that's not true. There's one more item in there, and this is just kind of free floating. And that's an Apple AirTag. So this is one item that I have been carrying in here. And basically all the items in the back have been kind of stable and the same items. And so just an AirTag in case I lose this or it gets stolen. One thing to note is I just have it free floating in there, and it will fall out if there's no other items and you flip it upside down. But when it's fully loaded out, I've never actually had it fall out of that pocket. And so it does seem to get tight enough where you can have small free floating items not fall out in there. And so let's actually measure this pocket real quick. We know it's 3 3/4 inch wide, just a hair over 2.5 inches tall. And then these elastic straps are about 1.25 inches each. You can see they're a little bit deeper than normal. They're not exactly an inch like we see on a lot of pouches, but that does fall into the bottom of the pocket. And so anything you have in there is really going to be sitting in the bottom portion of the pocket, which I like anyway, but you don't have the option of really keeping it separate because that's such a thick layer of elastic, but I do like that. Now on the left side, I have 2 items in the back. First, the tactile turn bolt action pen. Really nice that this fits a full-size pen. A lot of times when I'm carrying pouches, and especially pouches that fit in my pocket, you end up having to carry a mini pen if you want to put it in the pouch, and this one will accommodate a full-size pen, even longer than this one. And that's the full-size tactile turn. Right next to that, I have a Minosin A7 notebook, and have mentioned these a lot in videos. I get them in 10 packs on Amazon for super cheap, and so they're a nice small notebook. I do want to note that I typically like to carry either a field notes or log and jotter, and those are 3.5 by 5.5, and so those dimensions in theory would fit in this back pocket, but it's a really tight fit. It's not easy to get in and out, and it ends up bent a little bit, and so I just prefer to carry a smaller notebook if I'm going to carry it in this pouch. And so that back pocket, you obviously have the full about 6 3/4 inch or so to work with, but it's only about 4 inches tall, and so will stick out about a little over 2 inches there. Now that's everything I have on the left side. On the right side is where it gets pretty interesting, and that's because it has more of that Velcro panel. You can see I threw a couple Ranger eyes on there, but that's really not its intended purpose. It comes with these Velcro straps, and I believe that's actually a patented system. So you see a few different pouches like the Grim EDC, the Data Crew, that have interior Velcro for attaching Ranger eyes, but this one's really meant as an organization system. And so there's plenty of companies that sell Velcro organization, like 511 has it, Maxpedition, Viperade. I have a few from Blue Ridge Overland Group. And so there's plenty of them that make internal organizations. These ones do come with it, but you can use those other ones as long as obviously they're the right size. So I can put like a 511 one in here that has a card holder and 2 more elastic straps if you need that. But I do like these because they're very customizable, and so I ended up double strapping everything, although you don't need to, but it does hold in there a little bit more securely when you strap them on the top and bottom rather than just the middle. But have a Zippo in this left one and a Otical O-Knife D1, I think it is, driver 1. And so this is just a bit driver that has some internal bits stored in there. You can do an inline or this kind of L shape for a little bit more leverage. Really cool items from both of those. That Desert Warrior is a Blade HQ exclusive version, but you can see these straps. It does come with 4 straps, 2 5-inch straps, a 3-inch strap, and a 2-inch strap. Now, if you need more, they do sell them, or if you have other pouches, each of them come with 4, so I think I have 16 total. And those are really nice for carrying weird shaped items, like you can do a smaller portion on the bottom, and then if it widens out at the top, use a 5-inch one, and so it can hold weird shaped items in place that maybe typically wouldn't have a great space in your pouch, but also really good for wires. And so I don't have any wires in this particular loadout, but when I do carry them, I will put them and just wrap this around, and you can adjust the size. Even though it's 5 inches, you can do much smaller and double wrap it if you need to, and either stick it directly onto there, or if you don't want to, you can put those wires in that front pocket using this just to keep everything organized. And so it makes for a really versatile little system, which I like a lot. Now last up in the back, and this one's a little bit taller, you can see it's probably closer to 5 inches deep. I guess we can measure that by 3 3/4. Pretty much exactly 5 inches deep actually. And so the only item I have back there is this Lander backup battery, and I think this is a 6,000 milliamp, yeah, 6,000 milliamp. But the cool thing about this one is it's wireless, and so as long as I'm charged at the beginning of the day, I don't even need to bring like my iPhone charger or anything like that, which I really like. Now, one thing to note, even though this is wireless, it can't really charge through the material. It's not strong enough, especially with my phone case on, and my phone case is leather, so it's a little bit thicker. So you could, in theory, put it in the front and maybe charge something if it doesn't have a case on it. I haven't actually tested that, but I know it doesn't charge through the material with my case on, so I would want to pull this out, set it on the table, set my phone on top. And that's especially true on the back. If you have a bunch of patches back there, these are going to be pretty thick too, and so won't make it through that. But I do like carrying this. This isn't something that's typically in my videos because it's not really, as I guess it is an EDC item, but not the type of EDC item that I usually cover. But this is something that is usually in this pocket alongside a notebook on the opposite side, and so something I'm pretty commonly carrying. I also will have been throwing like USB sticks and stuff in here, more tech stuff and things like that I want to carry with me, along with kind of more admin-y like paper and pen and that sort of thing. But bit driver is usually in there, not always this one. I've been using the NAFS, I forget the name of it, but the NAFS Saturn something I think it is in here as well, in one of the elastic straps, and that works. But really nice size on this. It can accommodate a lot. One thing that I didn't show is a cell phone, and my cell phone doesn't fit in here, but it will fit smaller cell phones. My cell phone technically does without its case. I have an iPhone 12 Pro Max, I think, and that doesn't fit with the case on. It does fit a little bit without it, but it's a tight fit. And then also kind of similar to the knife, where I want my main knife in my pocket so it's easily accessible. Same thing with my phone. I don't necessarily want it in the pouch, but if you're using this like for jogging, something like that, and you do have a smaller phone, that probably will fit in these back pockets. But like the bigger iPhones and the bigger Galaxies and stuff don't fit back there. So definitely worth noting. Now, one final thing that I wanted to mention, I already mentioned you can buy the pouch alone or bundle it with the sling strap. There's also a third item that you can bundle it with, and I saved this for the end because the one I have is a prototype and it's not really all that similar to what you're gonna get. Obviously it's meant for the same purposes, but they made a lot of changes since I got mine. And so I'm gonna put this strap on here just so you can see how it attaches. And again, keep in mind this is a prototype. I would look at the pictures if this is something you're considering buying it, but there is a bundle or it's sold separately. And this is just a sunglass holder. And you can see mine's way longer than the pouch. They actually shortened it up so that it's probably more similar to the pouch size, and that's because you can see all of this is extra space. Glasses don't get that much wider than this, and so they were able to shorten that up a little bit. And you can attach it on either side, so right now I have it on the top, but if you want it on the bottom, kind of hanging down past the bottom, you can do that as well. But I don't have a lot of sunglasses. I usually only wear them when I'm driving or know I'm going to be outside. And so I only had this kind of bigger pair, which actually worked out perfect for testing. Actually, let's just take this off real quick so I can show that. But I have this bigger pair, and with the current setup, it doesn't really shake loose. It's pretty secure in there, but if you had a smaller pair of sunglasses, that might fall out. And so they changed the system altogether on how this works. So this just has this little strap that kind of catches it in place. I've never had it fall out. I've only had it for a couple weeks now, so it's not like it has that much testing behind it, but I've never had it fall out. And even when you're pulling it out, it tends to get caught right there. And so haven't had any issues whatsoever with that. But it is shorter now, and I believe it has a length of paracord going in this section instead of these loops, and then a plastic cinch down piece that you can slide and have it completely closed. I know they also experimented with a button at one point, so it may be a button as well, but definitely check out the pictures since this is an earlier prototype. But kind of a cool addition if you're someone that wears glasses a lot. Like I said, I keep a pair in my car, and then I have one other pair. I don't wear them that often, but my wife does. She has some thinner ones that would slide out of here if it's just hanging, and so it's good that they made those adjustments. And that's one thing about them. This is a small USA-based company. They're based out of Oklahoma, and they sent these over early so that they can get feedback. And I'm not the only person they sent them to, and not necessarily only looking for a video, although of course I am making a video on them now that they're releasing, but they're looking for feedback and they're taking that feedback and making changes. They're also really trying to be creative and come up with designs that are exactly what they're looking for that didn't exist on the market before. Things like that Velcro strap so that it can be customizable to the exact gear you're carrying. They're not just a clone of other companies, which tends to happen, and I wouldn't be surprised if eventually we see clones of this as well. But they're really trying to innovate. They're a USA-based company and small company. Definitely worth supporting if you can. And I really like everything that they've released so far. So they're up to 3 pouches, and all 3 of them have been really good, versatile pouches. So like them a lot. Not affiliated with them outside of them sending them over to me for feedback. So definitely check them out. Like I said, I will link to the description. And for the first hour this video is live, they're going to say sold out, but after 10 a.m. Central, they should be a live listing and you should be able to buy these pretty much right away, which is always nice, not sold out or anything like that. And so definitely check them out. Definitely let me know what you think down in the comments below. They're always looking for feedback as well. And so if you have specific feedback or questions, reach out to them. They're very accessible and looking to make cool stuff and cater to exactly what the EDC community is looking for. So I think that's a cool thing about them. But thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification button. And as always, I hope you have a great one. Take care.